Hi, Teresa.
Good afternoon, Mike. You've had a lot of challenges this season already. How big is the task of having to replace Taylor Lewan now that he has the ACL injury?
Disappointed, for Taylor. He works extremely hard. We're confident that he'll be back. But that's kind of what we've done. That's all we really know. That's how we try to operate. Is that we'll get the next guy in there and we'll see what's best for the team and try to move forward with the next guy in there. And Ty's played a bunch, in that backup role here in the first 5 games.
Teron?
Yeah, Coach, in regards to the rushing attack, you guys had a series of highs as far as how many yards you got per carry. What was happening there? Why were you guys able to get those explosive runs from both Henry and Jeremy McNichol?
Well, I think it takes all 11. Obviously, the operation. I think that we blocked for most of those runs that we gained yards on. We blocked Cunningham. He was an active player that on film, if you didn't block him, he was going to be able to find the ball and tackle it. I thought our staff did a nice job of putting together a plan that they thought would work and give the players an opportunity. I thought that in some of those runs you saw guys executing stiff arms, both Derek and Jeremy. A lot of credit to Tony Dews in those drills that he's working to help those guys when they get into the open field or they get past the first level.
And then to spin it forward to this upcoming game, the Steelers, they're number 2 against the run, so obviously they're legit in run defense. What kind of challenge do they present as far as you guys being able to continue that momentum from this past week?
Well, they are well coached. They're extremely well coached. They're talented. They play well. It has been tough for people to run the football on them, and we'll have to get to work. We've already started to get to work on that and how we're going to try to do that. But it'll take all 11. We'll have to give them a good plan and make sure that they understand it, and then go out and execute. And we'll have to get in there and block for us and stand up to the front. We'll have to block them. They're good on the edges and they're very good inside.
Jim?
Mike, what do you like about Ty Sombrero's maybe skill set, and do you try to speed things up with Isaiah, or you just got to keep him at his pace and use him when he's ready?
Well, I think to answer, Ty's played in this league. He's played multiple positions. He's got versatility. Had to play in there with Watt early on, but I thought he settled down and played well, like he has in the past when he's come in for us when he needed to play. And then to Isaiah, we haven't practiced much, so we got to get out and practice and evaluate where that is this week quickly and see where he can help us.
And you mentioned getting ready for the Steelers. You did some work in maybe anticipating playing them earlier this year. Did that help you this week? I mean, put you a little bit ahead of the game there as you get up ready for this week?
Maybe a little bit. I think that our focus after Pittsburgh was squarely on the Bills and the situation that we were dealing with, and then in a short turnaround with the Texans. So, we'll get back at it now here, looking at them and seeing where we can go to give our guys a best chance to prepare and win on Sunday.
Joe?
Mike, what about with Dennis? I know you guys obviously with a different roster, but you moved him over, of course, to the left side. Is that anywhere in the thought process that you might end up being better off long-term with him on the left side?
We'll go through all the scenarios, Joe. We'll figure out which ones we think are best for the players and best for the team. So I'm sure we'll consider that and have considered that.
Chris Harris?
Hey, Mike, just for some clarification with Lewan, should you guys make a deep playoff run, is there any chance that he would be available for that, or is you plan on him being done for the rest of the year?
Chris, I can only speak on what I know as of today, and that's that Taylor will be going on IR. So that's really all I can speak about. I wouldn't even want to begin to speculate what would happen beyond, the short term. I don't have an idea of when surgery would be or any of those things. Just, I know that we're not going to have them available here in the short term and probably throughout this current regular season.
John?
Yeah, Mike, question for you on that late 12 men on the field penalty against you guys. I guess first question, was that, intentionally done to stop the clock?
We have to do a better job with penalties. We had 7 of them, I think, pretty uncharacteristic. We had a few on offense. So, we have to be better in all areas. And I think the penalties are one thing that we focus on, communicating, trying to give ourselves the best chance to win a football game.
Right. But the 12 men on the field one in particular, were you trying to save some clock time by getting that
The
call?
second one, just trying to get them to try to make a stop there and substitute it in, an extra DB. But we ultimately got to do a better job on first down in 4-minute defense and not give up 9 yards.
Gotcha. And one follow on the final touchdown for you guys, or the final regulation touchdown for you guys. Did you consider 2 points at all, considering their offense had been going so well?
No. And no.
Terry?
Mike, in terms of the offensive line, you talked about a lot of different scenarios. Roger Saffold played some tackle earlier in his career. Is that a consideration, or is it too risky to move a guard out to tackle and risk messing up the chemistry?
Those are all the things that we're going through, today, Terry. And again, we have to try to focus on what's best for the player, which would, hopefully be best for the team. And, we'll work through a lot of those. And, by Wednesday, when it's time to practice, I'm confident that we'll have 5 guys that, will be comfortable where they're at and try to learn the game plan and be ready, and have some guys that are available in a backup role that have some versatility and that can play more than one position.
Paul?
Mike, if the Wildcat snap didn't work, were you intending to go for it on 4th down?
Yes.
Jared?
Yeah, Mike, on the question that John asked you about thinking about going for it for 2, a couple of years ago, Romeo obviously went for 2, and that kind of changed the game a little bit. And a couple of years ago against the Chargers in London, you did go for 2. Can you kind of take us through your thought process on how you decide when you want to go for 2 in a situation like that, and when you want to kick it and go to overtime like you did yesterday?
Looking at their situation, I guess it was just unfortunate. They get they scored on 2 4th downs there on the 1 yard line. We played pretty well. A lot of that's going to get overshadowed by, their ability to convert on the 4th and 1s, twice. But I think, had the one against New England where we went up 7 in the playoff game. Much different situation. They had less time, but really you could end it there with, a 2-point conversion and making it, a true 2-score game and not a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, which, it's debatable whether that's considered a 2-score. If 8's considered 2 scores, since, it's 50-50 on the conversion. But I think that's all they were trying to do there, is to say, let's get it to 9 and pretty much guarantee that we're going to win the game. We did it the same thing, and we didn't convert last year in New England. And then the other times where you're trying to go for 2 is, based just on, the score of the game, what you're trying to get it to, whether it's you're at 4 and you're trying to get it to 6 early in the fourth quarter. And then, looking back, in London, just kind of the situation on how the game was going, felt like that was the play, and we didn't execute, but we'll just try to continue to have a call ready and make a decisive decision.
And a couple guys that have contributed a lot yesterday: McNichols, Raymond, Ferkser, all guys who at some point were released by the team after training camp, stuck around and found their way onto the team. How important is that for sending the message to the roster during training camp, or guys that maybe don't make it, go to the practice squad to build chemistry for what they can be?
I mean, I think it's huge. I think it's critical. I think that that's what this league and life should be about. Meritocracy. You get what you earn. Hopefully we can start doing it with some more guys. That'd be great. But I'm happy for those players that maybe didn't have the start of their career that everybody envisioned. They stuck with it. They continue to work. They took advantage of their opportunities, and they certainly played a huge role in helping us get that victory yesterday.
Gentry.
Yeah, Mike, when you have been able to work with Isaiah on the practice field, how close was he to the player you thought you drafted in April, and how much of the development's been affected by obviously him not being able to be out there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm going to evaluate Isaiah, from where he's at now going forward. Not about potential hypothetical, how close this, I mean, it was just, I'm excited to see where he's at now that we can probably practice and put a couple days together and see what that looks like and evaluate him from this time going forward. We had gotten cleared and we had taken him off the reserve list, and then we weren't able to do much. And so he's in shape, he's in condition, he's made a commitment in that regard. And so now we'll just have to see the next step is what it looks like here with a few days of practice, of continued practice. We haven't had pads on really since going all the way back to Minnesota.
Steve Lemon.
Mike, where are you right now with your defense and your level of being pleased with their play, and what's the biggest area of improvement you need to see from them?
Well, I just would like to get back to a level of consistency, and I think that that's probably the thing that's hurt us the most is too many positive plays, too many good plays. 6 stops inside the 2-yard line or whatever it is, and then the 2, that they score on 4th down, or the positive 3rd down plays that looks like it's coordinated and it's run well and it's executed well. And then the X plays that, there's not a level of communication or execution. I think that's probably the biggest thing is the consistency. I felt like we stopped the run, but then, late in the game, they run the ball a few times there in 4 minutes. So I just think that's the biggest thing is we have to just be more consistent. There are too many good plays in there that get overshadowed by, the bad ones.
And then on the mental side of things, a year ago through 6 weeks, you guys were 2-4, and you spoke a lot about staying with it. It's a long season. You want to be where you need to be in November or December. Now you're 5-0. Do you have to fight a little bit on the other side of things to make sure that they realize nothing has been accomplished through 5 games?
I think that's my purpose. That's what I have to try to do, and we have to try to do. Is realize that none of that really matters. We have to find ways to improve. Every week is a difficult week in this league. It's a challenge. We know that if you don't play well, you'll lose. And if you play well, you give yourself a chance to win. And so we're going to try to do that and keep getting better and keep coaching them, and understand that you can't get caught up in the losses, just like you can't get caught up in the victories.
Buck?
Yeah, Mike, we saw Adoree getting at least a little bit of work in throughout the course of over on the side field there, where you have those guys during the return to play. Do you anticipate him being closer to be able to help you guys out or practice this week?
Buck, is that you? Are you reporting on things that went on the third field? Are we still doing that? I thought we tried to cut that out.
I thought I was under the
Oh
impression.
man, come on. Adoree is working his way back. Hopefully we'll see where he is on Wednesday. He did some work today with the trainers, and so we'll see how he recovers, and hopefully, he can transition to doing some stuff on Wednesday. And if he does, we'll see where he's at. We'll see how he responds, see how he feels tomorrow. And maybe we can, try to get him back, and we'll see, how he feels. But he hasn't practiced in a while, so that'll be it'll be important just to see what the fatigue's like and how he responds to a little bit more work.
Terry?
Mike, Vic's playtime yesterday, 11 snaps. Was that by design? That just to get way the game worked out? And are you hopeful of seeing more of him this Sunday against Pittsburgh?
I guess we'll see where it's at this week against Pittsburgh. We'll have to reevaluate everything we're doing. Certainly from a coaching perspective and from a playing perspective to try to get back to that level of consistency and continue with the positive plays and try to eliminate the ones that get you beat.
Paul?
Mike, would you think Corey would be back this week and the COVID stuff would be all the way behind you, barring anything new?
I do believe that those guys, Corey, Mike Cole, and Borders should be off here today or tomorrow, cleared past the ramp up process, the conditioning, and the cardiovascular evaluation.
Corey?
Coach, sorry for another follow here on Isaiah, but just are you still confident he can help you this season?
Sure. Yeah, I think that the commitment that he's made, since being on the reserve list, I think has been positive, been good, been very good, and now we just have to take it to the next level of going out and executing on the football field and practicing and knowing what to do and playing and finishing and doing all those things that we ask our offensive linemen to do.
Last one, John?
I'm good, Robbie. I was covered there. Thanks.
All right, that's a wrap then, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Coach.